Let me tell you something that'll make your morning coffee taste a little spicier. I got accused of trespassing on my own beach. No, seriously, I had barely set foot on my own sand 2 steps. That's it, when this woman came speed walking straight at me, swinging a clipboard like it was a sheriff's badge. "You can't be here," she shouts, all out of breath, pointing that pen at me like I'm about to get written up for loitering on my own land. This is HOA property. You ever had one of those moments where your brain just pauses? Yeah, that was me. I was literally standing beside the dune walkway I'd built last month with my own hands still holding a bag of groceries. Before I could even say a word, she's jabbing that pen again. "You're trespassing. Step off the community beach or I'll file a violation report." I mean, what I pointed over my shoulder at my house, sitting maybe 10 feet away, all while she's smirking like she's got some secret the rest of us mere mortals just aren't privy to. "Not according to our records," she says, tapping that clipboard like it's the U.S. Constitution. "You can argue with the board later. For now, leave." That's when it hit me. This wasn't some honest mistake, some paperwork mix-up. Nope, this was the opening shot of a full-blown HOA land grab. And by the way, let me know in the comments where you're tuning in from and what time it is, because I want to see just how far the reach of HOA nonsense extends. Now, after Karen, let's just call her Karen, stormed off, I tried to cool down. I knew this beach like the back of my hand. My family's owned it longer than most of these folks have even lived here. My grandfather bought this strip of coastline before the term HOA was even a thing, just sand, sky, and a couple of fishermen's shacks holding on for dear life. Back then, there weren't community beaches or board meetings. Just a weathered old boat shed he built from lumber he hauled himself. "The ocean doesn't belong to anybody but the land you care for does," he'd always say. And boy, did he care for it. Every spring, he'd be out there fixing the dunes, clearing storm debris, and rebuilding that walkway after each hurricane. Developers tried buying our lot twice when the big HOA project moved in. Grandpa turned them down both times and filed the paperwork so they couldn't touch a single inch. That document still stands. Clear boundaries, clear markers. Our sand. When Grandpa passed, he left it all to me. Sure, I don't live here full-time. I work remote, come down on holidays or when I need some peace, but I keep it up. I'm the one applying for the shoreline maintenance permits, the one the county knows by name. Even Google Maps can point out my property lines. So for Karen to stand there and say community beach with a straight face, it'd be funny if it weren't so nuts. See, I always tried to be laid back. People passing through, kids building sandcastles, never bothered me. Grandpa always said kindness beats confrontation, and I've tried to keep that going. But kindness ain't the same as rolling over and letting someone rewrite your deed, you know what I mean? But I couldn't shake this feeling something more was going on. This wasn't just Karen getting the wrong address. This was a story being passed around behind closed doors. One where my beach didn't exist, where Grandpa never bought a thing, where our land somehow became community use. And Karen. She was just the loudest parrot repeating it. I was still shaking sand out of my slippers when Karen marched back with a crumpled printout in hand. "Updated boundaries from last year," she huffs. "Your section is now Phase 3 recreational zone." I grabbed the paper, just a blurry newsletter with a cheap little map and a big red circle drawn over my beach. That's it. That's her proof. "Voted on by the board," she says. "Phase 3 expansion passed." Expansion. "Karen, I'm not in your HOA." She waves me off. "Adjacent properties fall under community environmental codes. It's right here." Tapping at the newsletter like it's a Supreme Court ruling. "You can't refuse. Community decisions apply to everyone using the beach." I just blinked. "I own this beach and a Tesla," I said, half out of patience. "That doesn't mean I can drive through stop signs," she shot back. Before I can process that, she's on her walkie-talkie dispatch. "This is Karen from Lot 28. I need security at North Access. Trespasser refusing to vacate Community Beach. You can't make this stuff up." A few minutes later, a kid in a security vest, Chase, maybe 23, rolls up in a golf cart. He looks at Karen, then at me, then at my house like he stumbled into the wrong sitcom. What's the issue?" Karen jumps in. "This man is trespassing on the community's Phase 3 beach expansion." Chase just frowns. "Phase? What, I didn't even know we had a Phase 2. Karen groans. "Just remove him." Chase turns to me. "I thought the HOA beach ends down by the pavilion." I point out the markers Grandpa set in the ground. "My deed starts right there." Karen butts in. "He's damaging community dunes with illegal construction." "That's my permitted walkway," I said. "County approved." But Karen's writing me up on a homemade ticket like she's deputized herself. Violation 1, trespassing. On my property, I ask. Violation 2, unauthorized construction. You mean the walkway the county signed off on? She glares. Violation 3, environmental damage. To my dunes. Community, dunes now phase 3. Honestly, you'd think she bought the place yesterday. She starts writing me another violation, underlining it twice. Interference with community recreational space. That got an actual laugh out of me. Karen, none of this is real. She just snaps her clipboard shut. It's real enough for the board. You'll get a notice in the mail. What address exactly, I ask. She stares, mouth open for a second, then stammers, I know the owner, he'll back me up. You know him? My grandfather, Robert? Her face goes blank. Yes, he always told us we could use the beach. I shake my head. Robert was my grandfather. He died 6 years ago. I inherited this property. She just stares, then insists, no, that's impossible. Robert was alive last time I spoke to him. When was that? Maybe 8 or 9 years ago. That was before he died, Karen. I don't believe you. If he passed away, someone would have told us. Why, he never owed the HOA a thing. She doubles down. He gave us permission to use the beach. Verbal agreements count. I just stared, half impressed by the confidence of her wrongness. Then she gets in close. You're trying to take away a beach we've used for years. She looks around, lowers her voice. You're trespassing on land we've owned for decades. You can't rewrite history with a newsletter map, I said. She lifts the clipboard. This violation will stand, and more will follow if you keep resisting. Resisting what? Owning my own property. She leans in. You want to stay here? Show proof. Real proof. Even for her, that was bold. The next morning, I wake up to a sound I never want to hear on my beach chaos. I step out, and it's like a festival exploded. Tents, umbrellas, 3 different Bluetooth speakers. Some guys barbecuing, kids digging through the dune grass I planted volleyball net tied between my markers. And there she is, Karen, holding court from a bright beach chair, bossing everyone around. This is a community event, she shouts. Phase 3 launch. I walked over, tried to stay calm. Some guy stops me. Hey man, this area is reserved for the neighborhood today. I just look at him, reserved. This is my property. Karen said you're squatting, but don't worry, the HOA's handling it. Even getting to my own boat shed was like an obstacle course, snacks bags, some toddler pounding away on the step like it's a drum. Karen just grins. We're reclaiming the beach. From who, I ask? From you, she says. The board voted last night. It's community land now. I laughed. A vote doesn't override a deed, Karen. She shrugs. It does when you've been gone for years. I was here last month, you're just occupying, not owning. That's when an older couple quietly apologizes. They'd been told I was squatting, that the HOA was taking the beach back. I'd had enough. I stepped right up to Karen. This is my family's property. You don't have any authority here. She just looks at me with that pitying smile. Sweetheart, your grandfather owns this land, not you. I told her he died 6 years ago. I inherited it. No, she snaps. That's a lie. If he died, the HOA would have been notified. There'd be a meeting. This isn't a community garden, Karen. It's private property. She gets louder, starts whipping up the crowd. If you have a problem, take it up with the board. We won't move. You're trespassing, I say. Not anymore. She actually believed it. Then she says, call the owner. Put him on speaker. I couldn't believe it, but I did exactly that. I called my attorney, put him on speaker, and asked, who owns this property? His answer was loud and clear. You do. The deed's in your name. The HOA has 0 jurisdiction. People gasped. Karen went beet red. She tried to pivot, grabbed her walkie-talkie, called the cops on me. When the police rolled up, you could see they'd had enough HOA drama for one lifetime. Karen jumps in. Officers, this man is trespassing on community property. The officer looks at me. Let's see your documents. I hand over the deed, the survey, my permits. They walk the markers, check the coordinates, compare everything. These markers match your documents exactly. Karen explodes. No, this is community land. Historical community use means it's ours, ma'am. That's not how property law works. Even the officer sounds tired. One last time, Karen tries. He damaged community dunes. The officer checks my permit. He's got legal approval for all this. Karen stomps her foot like a kid denied ice cream. No, this man is stealing our beach. The officer just sighs, ma'am. An HOA vote does not override a legally recorded deed. People started packing up. Nobody wanted to be part of Karen's war anymore. Even her loyalists just slunk away. But Karen wouldn't move. I know my rights, she barked. The officer got real calm, ma'am. This is a lawful order. Leave the property. She looked around for support, but there was none. Alone, furious, she yanked up her chair and muttered, "This isn't over. We're suing," and dragged her fire pit behind her, leaving ruts in the sand. You'd think that'd be the end of it, right? Nope. Next came a blizzard of HOA letters, first demanding I grant reasonable community access, then accusing me of damaging endangered dune ecosystems, then claiming my county-approved walkway was illegal. They sent inspectors, neighbors with clipboards taking photos of my porch, my dunes, even my mailbox. One day, my friendliest neighbor quietly told me, "Karen's saying you abandoned the property, that the HOA gained rights." "I was here last week," I said. "Doesn't matter, she's persuasive." And loud. You'd think people would check facts, but hey, it's a small town and gossip travels faster than the truth. More letters now threatening legal action if I didn't remove my walkway and stop blocking community access. I nearly laughed out loud. If I didn't know better, I'd have thought I was living in a sitcom. But then came the last straw. A letter taped to my door. HOA had filed paperwork with the county trying to challenge my ownership. I sat on the porch reading that letter over and over. Then my attorney called, his voice serious. "Listen, they forged letters to the county office, forged your signature, tried to void your permit, and requested HOA oversight for your dunes." My hands shook. That was outright fraud. "What now?" I asked. "Now we fight back," Blake said. He filed a cease and desist, a formal complaint for interference, trespassing, backed by video evidence, defamation, everything. He even showed me the forgeries. My signature looked like someone signed it while riding a bull. The only reason the county caught it, they recognized my real signature. HOA called an emergency meeting. Blake told me not to go let them implode. 3 neighbors told me later Karen tried to claim she'd been authorized by the previous owner. My grandfather tried to bluff her way through forged letters. But then they played the beach video, the tents, the orders, Karen shouting about reclaiming the beach. The room turned on her in an instant. The president finally stood up and said, "Karen, you're done." She lost everything, her position, her fake power trip, her followers. By the next morning, the whole town knew. President called me, his voice tired. "Karen's off the board, banned permanently. We're paying your legal fees, installing new signs, and dropping any claim to your beach. It's yours, always was." And just like that, peace returned. The HOA retreated, neighbors apologized, kids stopped sneaking across my dunes, the markers held. The silence was back, the good kind, not the storm-brewing kind. I'd walk the beach at sunset and picture Grandpa beside me, quiet and stubborn, proud that the land he fought for stayed in the family. Funny thing is, after all that noise, all those fake violations, all the bluster, Karen ended up owning nothing but her own embarrassment. The war was over and the only thing left was peace. But let me throw it back to you. Ever had an HOA or a neighbor try to rewrite reality right under your nose? Drop your wildest story in the comments. What did you do? How did it end? What would you do differently? Your stories help this little community grow. If you enjoyed this saga hit, like, share, and subscribe for more real-life tales of property pride and standing your ground. Wherever you're watching from, I hope your next sunrise is all yours. Quiet, peaceful, and drama-free.